Passage for Reading Comprehension and Listening by S.M.Zakir Hossain. Passage 2.
The human brain is divided into two halves, which are almost physically symmetrical. The cerebral cortex forms the upper surface of the brain. The two halves, sometimes called hemispheres, of cerebral cortex are joined together by the corpus callosum, made up of some 200 million nerve fibers. The cortex contains some 75% of the 10 to 12 billion neurons in the brain. The cortex is associated with the capacity for language, the delicate motor control that makes possible the use of tools, the safety devices that manage built-in drives and emotions, interpretive systems that enable man to perceive himself and the world around him. The cortex is the area where thinking processes take place.
The right side of the cortex is largely responsible for the control of the left side of the body, and vice versa. So, when a pianist plays a note with his left hand, the original motor impulses come from the right side of the cortex.
The fact that human brain is made up of two halves, as in other animals, was noted by Hippocrates in about 400 BC. For a long time, it was presumed that the functions of the brain were equally distributed. For example, both sides would be responsible for language, etc. Largely from observation of patients with brain damage, as early as 1745, it was noted that a stroke affecting the left brain resulted in almost total loss of language. Although the capacity for language had been virtually lost, the patient in question was still able to sing certain hymns, which had been learned prior to the stroke, suggesting that speech was centered in the left hemisphere, and more musical abilities were centered in the right brain. In 1864, S.M.Jackson, an English neurologist, reported of a woman with a tumor affecting the right hemisphere that she did not know objects, persons and places. It was almost 100 years before these observations were really tested.